A one, a one, two, three. All right, a little bit of I Am a Pilgrim. So hey, what I wanted to do today is talk about some misconceptions when you're learning to play flat picking and bluegrass guitar, or maybe some what I think is bad information out there, or some things that students kind of run into. Okay, so I'll start right off the top with what's going to be the most controversial one. I think the way the internet works is through consensus of opinion kind of creates a truth. And there's a thing, a lot of people are asking me right now about should I essentially float my hand when I'm learning to flat pick? And I'd really like to just go ahead and say that's not for everybody. There's a few really good top players now that are doing that. Historically, that hasn't really been a thing in bluegrass. If it works great for gypsy jazz, that's great. If it works great for another style, that's terrific. I haven't seen a lot of bluegrass players do this until very recently. So there's a couple guys out there now doing it, but I don't think it's the best thing for beginning intermediate guitar players to do. Now, if you've got a good teacher, and your teacher does this and is telling you to do this, by all means, listen to your teacher, not me. I recommend either, touch your hand down here. Tony Rice did that. I think Brian Sutton does that. A lot of good players have done that over the years. People say, well, you're not supposed to put a pinky down. There's a lot of good players put a pinky down. Other people will kind of rest their arm back here. So a lot of good players have done that over the years. I think there's less players that have done this, where they don't touch anything. I think you lose some control. So maybe there's something to it that I don't know about, but I will say that's not historically how people have played that I know of. I've been playing bluegrass guitar for, since I was probably almost 30 years. So I just haven't seen a whole lot of that. Okay. Here is a problem that people who are learning run into is they don't learn the chords to the songs. They get the tab and learn only the lead parts to the songs. You should also learn to play the rhythm parts. Okay. So it's going to become a problem as soon as you get into a jam that you can't back anybody else up. Everybody should know the chords to the song. In fact, you could only know the chords to the song and be a very helpful musician at a jam session. You don't even have to know the lead. You just play the chords to the song. So you should be able to play the rhythm for every song that you learn. Now, I think Strum Machine is a great tool. I've used it. I think it's terrific. But I also think there's an old school way you could go about this is you could record your own rhythm part and practice along with that. And I think that would help, because then you would have some practice playing the rhythm. And then you have to learn how to switch between rhythm and lead, because when you play in a jam session, you have to do that. So you should practice for the thing you're going to do. If you're going to play on stage, you should learn how to play the rhythm and the lead. If you're going to play in a jam session, you should learn how to play the rhythm and the lead. Okay, here's another problem that people run into when they're learning. It's not following the alternate picking rules. And here's an example. Here's the first place people do it. I'm going to give you a really simple example. Here's a 5-note scale starting on G. They mix it at the very first stroke. They go like this. Already my pick strokes are backwards. So here's how you solve that. You have to make sure each pick stroke goes beyond the next string. Because if you have a little narrow pick stroke that ends right after the string, then you would have to make an extra motion to come up on the next string. But if each pick stroke goes at least as far as the next string, you'll get really used to keeping the downs and ups moving. So what I tell people to do is widen the pick strokes when you're practicing your scales. Okay, so that the pick stroke in either direction goes at least as far as the next string. Okay, and then the last thing, kind of tip about learning to play bluegrass guitar that a lot of people do, this is pretty natural, is we expect too much out of ourselves. Okay, so you can only do what your body and your mind will give you, and you can organize your practice time, especially if you're an adult and you've got good skills about like just living life and showing up to work and making payments on something. You're going to be more disciplined than a kid. Everybody says kids are smarter than adults. Well, kids don't have anything to worry about. Okay. So, but adults have some practices in their life. They can organize, a daily practice time. But you just got to take it little by little. Even if you're older starting, you don't get to just make that big jump, okay? But it's okay. You're going to do fine. Take it little by little, think about it like this, okay? If you were to go play, I'm going to go all the way out and say you're going to go play for 3 hours on a Friday night. We used to play in a pizza restaurant. We would play for 3 hours. 3 hours of music was about 45 songs, okay? So sometimes people think they need to learn a song every week. Well, that would be 52 songs. That's already too many songs. You don't need to learn a new song every week. It would be better to get good at a handful of songs. Now, you go to the jam, say, well, I only know 5 songs. Well, first of all, that's great that you know 5 songs. What do you do for the rest of the songs? You play rhythm. You kind of listen to the songs. When you're playing rhythm guitar for somebody, you're learning what the melody sounds like. You're learning with the chords. And most of your lead playing, you may not know this yet, most of your lead playing is based on the chords of the song. So by the time you come around and get to learning to improvise more, learning to play more lead, wanting to do variations and all that, it's all going to be based on the chords anyway. You'll have that really strong foundation for playing chords. Okay? So that's my lesson tonight about misconceptions. Don't worry about floating your hand. Go ahead and touch the guitar. You're allowed to touch the guitar. Okay? Make sure you learn the rhythm parts and the chords to the songs. Make sure you get your alternate picking wide so that you can keep that flow going. And then take your time and be patient with yourself. Don't expect too much right off the bat. Okay? Have fun. Like and subscribe. I got classes on the website, andyslessons.com. We're learning to improvise. We're learning to create bluegrass guitar breaks. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.